And a pleasant good morning to you. Welcome into Schaumburg, Illinois, the host for today's game between the Schaumburg Boomers and your Evansville Otters. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Hope you got your cup of coffee ready to go. Otters need a little jump start to keep the good times rolling. Got a win last night behind a complete game pitched by Austin Gossman. He went 9 full innings in the game. He gave up just 1 run on 9 hits. He struck out 6, walked just 2. Otters were able to give him 4 runs in the 3rd inning. The first 2 came on a J.R. Davis 2-run single. Steven Sinsley backed it up in the very next at-bat with a 2-run home run. In the 5th, the Otters added 1 more as Andy Armstrong scored on a wild pitch. The Boomers did grab 1 run in the bottom of the 9th inning. It came on a solo home run from Braxton Davidson. That would be all that they would find on the scoreboard as Evansville went on to win 5-1 and increased to a series record this year of 5-1. 5-1 over the Schaumburg Boomers. It's a series that Evansville's done well in this year. The pitching has been great. The bats have backed it up well. They're going to look to keep both of those things alive today. Bryce Studeville is making his 3rd start and 5th appearance on the mound in this game. The former Screaming Eagle enters the game with a ERA of 2.55 and an official record of 0-0. Looking for some success in this one. We're going to go through the starting lineups real quick. We'll stick it right here with the Evansville Otters. Elijah McNamee batting in the first spot as the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game. He's playing right field. Batting second and playing DH is Zach Biermann. Batting third is the third baseman, J.R. Davis. Batting fourth is the first baseman, Steven Sinsley. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. Batting sixth is the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting seventh, the shortstop, George Khalil. Batting eighth is the catcher, Devin Buckner. And batting ninth is the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. And the starting 9 for the Schaumburg Boomers. Batting first is the shortstop, Alec Craig. Batting second, the third baseman, William Salas. Batting third, the second baseman, Chase Dawson. And batting fourth is the left fielder, Mike Hart. Batting fifth is their first baseman, Braxton Davidson, responsible for the sole run last night. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Jordan Wiley. Batting seventh is the catcher, Blake Grant Parks. Batting eighth is the center fielder, Brett Milazzo. And batting ninth is the designated hitter, Cosmiso Canella. The starting man on the mound for the Boomers is Junpei Akanuma, who is making another start against this Otters team. And he'll look to keep his good year going. 2-0 record with a 2.19 ERA. This will be his 6th start. He's not a guy who goes super deep into games, as his longest start thus far is 6 innings against Empire State back in late May, but he doesn't give up many runs. He's had 2 different opportunities where he's given up 2 runs, the rest just 1-run outings. He has been a hard pitcher to consistently hit and score runs against. The Otters will hope to get it going against him in just a few minutes. Let's walk you through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard, as there are a few games going on this morning across the league. In the bottom of the 2nd inning, the New Jersey Jackals currently hold a 4-0 lead over the Sussex County Miners in Game 2 of the Battle for New Jersey. In the top of the 3rd, the Joliet Slammers hold a 1-0 advantage at Lake Erie over the Crushers. In the bottom of the 1st, the Florence Yalls already up 2-1 at Windy City. Of course, our game is just moments away from beginning here from Schaumburg, Illinois. The rest of the games go on this evening. Ottawa at Trois-Rivières, a game that is being made up from early June. They'll play a doubleheader this evening, Ottawa at Trois-Rivières. At about 5:30 our time, New York is at Tri-City to face the Valley Cats up in upstate New York. Empire State continues a set with the Quebec Capitals. The Capitals are on a 7-game winning streak right now. Empire State will try to be the ones that break that. And the nightcap this evening, Washington at Gateway, as Evansville is hoping for a Gateway victory that would give them first place all on their own for the first time in a few weeks. Washington did lose last night, so the Otters and Wild Things are tied at the top of the West Division standings. They are bringing in the last men from the outfield and getting ready to bring everybody out for the national anthem here from Wintrust Field, just minutes away from first pitch here on the Otters Digital Network. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next. I tell you what, we are so blessed to have some perfect weather again for daytime baseball in Schaumburg, Illinois. Again, I'm Matthew Will, joining you live up here in the press box at Wintrust Field, the site for this afternoon's game between the Schaumburg Boomers and the Evansville Otters. Let's introduce you to the man on the mound for the Schaumburg Boomers, Junpei Akanuma. Has a 2-0 record, a 2.29 ERA. He'll look to keep it going against this Otters starting nine, which are the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, right fielder Elijah McNamee, the designated hitter Zach Biermann, the third baseman J.R. Davis, batting fourth is the first baseman Steven Sinsley, batting fifth the left fielder Jeffrey Baez, batting sixth the center fielder Miles Gordon, batting seventh the shortstop George Khalil, batting eighth the catcher Devin Buckner, and batting ninth is the second baseman Andy Armstrong. Junpei Akanuma on the mound. Blake Grant Parks behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Big Hit Mac, Elijah McNamee, sent you. He's the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, and he is starting to make his way towards home plate as we speak. We've got a first pitch temperature of 83 degrees, a light breeze blowing out towards right field, and the sun is going to be shining all game long. Otters in their blue primary jerseys with the script Otters written in white on front, white numbers on the back. They've got gray bottoms. They'll be wearing the full blue hats with gray bills. The Boomers wearing their black tops, white bottoms. The black tops have white brick number or lettering, Boomers across the front, white numbers on the back. The first pitch to McNamee is put foul down the left field line at 11:04 to kick us off here from Schaumburg, Illinois. In last night's game, McNamee probably had the most successful day of the Otters. A walk, reaching on an error, got a single as well, was consistently getting on base. Looking at a 1-1 now after a pitch stayed low. So he'll try now on the 1-1. Zoom to the left side, past the third baseman, down for a base hit to kick off this one. Big Hit Mac picks up where he left off last night, starting this game with a base hit. He's extended his hitting streak to 4 games. That came after he saw his 10-game hitting and 36-game on-base streak snapped last week. The big hitting designated hitter Zach Biermann heads to the plate now. The last time the Otters were here a few weeks ago, he hit 3 home runs in 1 game and tied a Frontier League record. First pitch he sees here, zoomed down the first base line, but it's just foul. Ends up on the berm over there down the right field line. Tell you what, he really got a hold of that one. Hard to tell if it would have ended up as a home run. I think it probably would have bounced about 3 or 4 feet in front of the wall in that deep right field corner. That's 355 feet to that corner. The 0-1 to Zach Biermann. Way inside and hits him on the hip. First 2 runners are on for the Otters. A hit by pitch has put runners at first and second, with the third baseman J.R. Davis making his way to the plate now. J.R. Davis taking his time to step in. Davis had a 2-run single in yesterday's game. That ended up being the game-winning RBI. First pitch to him here. Way inside, ball 1. He had to bend out of the way of it. The defensive alignment for the Boomers today: Hart, Malazzo, Wiley left to right across the outfield. Solis is playing third, Craig at short, Dawson at second, Davidson at first, Grant Parks behind the plate. A 1-0 to Davis. Called strike on the outside edge of the plate. Officiating crew, of course, just moves around from last night. So behind home plate is Brandon Spivak. Matt Beavers on the left side of the infield. Dominic Longbucco is on the right side of the infield. A 1-1 to Davis. Zoom to the left side. Picked up by the third baseman. To second for 1. To first. In time for the double play. Absolute must get for the Boomers to grab a couple outs there. Officially, it's 5-4-3 on the GIDP. Biermann's taken on the way to second. Davis on the way to first. Elijah McNamee is now the only man on base, standing on third with 2 outs. Steven Sinsley will try to be the man to give the Otters an early lead in this one. He hit a 2-run home run in yesterday's game. First pitch to Sinsley. Catches the high outside corner for a called strike 1. Probably a good thing that he didn't swing at that. Even if he did, he would have ended up a bit short. The 0-1. And it catches the inside edge. Steven Sinsley now down in the count 0-2. The 0-2 to Sinsley. Stays up high for ball 1. One ball, 2 strikes for Sinsley. The pitch on the way. It's on the ground to the right side. Charging in is Dawson. The throw to first is in time. And the Otters are going to strand a man at third here in the first inning. We've played 1/2. Still scoreless here from Schaumburg. Well, the Otters unable to bring a man home from third in the first inning. And now Bryce Studeville will look to keep the game right where it's at. Studeville making his 3rd start on the mound this year. 5th appearance on the season. Behind the plate, Devin Buckner. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. The men he'll face. The top 3 are shortstop Alex Craig, third baseman William Sullis, and second baseman Chase Dawson. The cleanup hitter is left fielder Mike Hart. Batting 5th, the first baseman Braxton Davidson. Batting 6th, the right fielder Jordan Wiley. Batting 7th, the catcher Blake Grant Parks. Batting 8th is the center fielder Brett Milazzo. And batting 9th is the designated hitter Cosmiso Canella. Throwing his last warm-up pitch now is Studeville, and he's ready to go. Tell you what, in his first start or two, it was his curveball that was really impressive. He was locating it well, able to get a lot of guys to look at it and get called strikes. But in his last time out, his curveball had a lot of downward motion to it. A lot of it bounced in. So that is one area I'd like to see Bryce's game improve here. Craig dug in for his first at-bat in this one. And the first pitch to him on the way, outside for ball 1. Craig was the 6-hole hitter last night went 1 for 4 and was caught trying to advance to home as Jeffrey Baez threw him out from left field. A 1-0 stays low for ball 2. Craig will take his time stepping back up. The 2-0 pushed to the right side, picked up by Sinsley. He'll toss it over to Studeville. He'll stand on first for out number 1. Good way to start there for the Otters. Let's walk you along the defensive alignment for the Otters today. Jeffrey Baez, Miles Gordon, and Elijah McNamee left to right across the outfield. J.R. Davis playing third, George Khalil at short, Andy Armstrong at second, Steven Sinsley manning first base, Devin Buckner behind the plate. Defense is set up pretty much straight up all the way around for William Salas as the first pitch comes home to him. It's a called strike right at the knees. Beautiful day, and the kids from a bunch of different day camps all around the Schaumburg and Chicago area are starting to pile in here for this morning/afternoon matinee game. 0-2 the count to William Salas. Studeville kicks and delivers. It's a curveball that bounces in for ball 1. Glad to have you joining us here on the Otters Digital Network on a Wednesday morning. Otters will have this evening off, obviously, with the game going on right now. Then they will play tomorrow evening at 6:30, once again here from Schaumburg. The 1-2 to Salas, pushed out towards right field. McNamee giving chase towards it, and he brings it in for out number 2. Ball was carrying towards the right field corner. McNamee had it tracked down well, though. They'll bring up the 3-hole hitter, second baseman Chase Dawson. Dawson is still chasing history right now. He has 16 triples. One more gives him the league's all-time record. First pitch to Dawson on the way from Studeville. Bounces in for ball 1. Otters were able to get their first 2 men on and even get a man at third in that first inning. Could not bring him home, however. The 1-0 for Dawson. Catches the outside edge. The count's evened up at a ball and a strike. One ball, one strike. Studeville sends it home. A half swing. They say yes, he did, for a swinging strike 2. Otters have the whole bullpen available today since they didn't have to use anyone in the bullpen yesterday and they had an off day Monday. Everyone would be available. 1-2, the pitch to Chase Dawson. Stays just a hair low. Good stop by Buckner to keep it in front of him. No one on base, but it's still nice to see Buckner sacrificing the body to keep things in front of him. The 2-2 headed home towards Chase Dawson. Lifted high in the infield. Chasing in is Davis. He dives over the mound and brings it in. Went tripping over the pitcher's mound to bring it in, and right there thanking him is Bryce Studeville. We've played one full. We're still scoreless from Schaumburg on a beautiful day for baseball. Top of the second, coming at you on the Otters Digital Network. Jeffrey Baez, Miles Gordon, and George Khalil will kick off the batting here for the Otters in the second. Jeffrey Baez in yesterday's game was the sole Otter with a multi-hit outing, 2 singles for him. Defense is playing him straight up all the way around. Got to be careful with Jeffrey, as he's a guy who can really make you pay if you give him a nice pitch. In fact, he hit a 2-run bomb the last time the Otters were here a few weeks ago. First pitch is a very slow changeup that catches the inside edge on him. The 0-1 works its way outside. The count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 is launched high and foul to the right side. Will end up in the seating area and out of play, actually. Certainly a Kids Day game here as well. Lots of day camps brought the kids out. 1-2 for Jeffrey Baez. Sent off the handle of the bat towards the Schaumburg dugout for a strange foul ball, strike 2. So the count falls to 1 ball, 2 strikes for the hard-hitting left fielder Jeffrey Baez. The 1-2 zoomed out towards left center field, down for a base hit. Jeffrey Baez grabs a single, and both of the 2 innings so far for the Otters have kicked off with a leadoff single. That'll bring the quick lefty up to the plate, Miles Gordon, who in last night's game was 0 for 3, had a sacrifice bunt at one point to move a runner towards scoring position. First pitch to Miles Gordon. There goes Baez towards second. The throw out there is close, but not in time. Jeffrey Baez has himself a stolen base. And of course, if you know anything about me, you know how much I love a Jeffrey Baez stolen base. He's climbing closer and closer to 250 of them in his career. He fools you with his size, and then he grabs a base or 2 on you. 1-0 for Gordon. Outside for ball 2. So the Otters have another man in scoring position. Love to see him capitalize here. Jumpe readies himself up on the bump, looking in for the sign. Shakes off 2 or 3 and again steps off. And because of it, Miles Gordon's going to step out and reset. Definitely some confusion right now between Akanuma and Grant Parks. They finally nod on a pitch. The 2-0 headed home. And no, Jumpe turns around and fakes the throw out to second. Neither the shortstop or second baseman were very close. In fact, the second baseman's playing right in the gap between first and second, a shallow right field position. The 2-0 to Gordon, high outside, ball 3. And the Otters are 1 pitch away from having their first 2 men on for the second straight inning. Two balls, 1 strike for Miles Gordon. It says 1 strike. It should be 3 balls, no strikes. Whatever, it's a flied ball towards shallow center field. Dropping back is Craig, and he'll bring it in for out number 1. An unfortunate out that doesn't really help the Otters much. Pop out to the shortstop officially for Miles Gordon. It'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil. Khalil went 0 for 4 last night. A ground out, pop outs, and a couple of strikeouts. Jeffrey Baez remains out there at second base. George Khalil at the plate. First offering to him. Works its way outside just a hair for ball 1. Defense playing a lot more centered now for George Khalil. The 1-0 on its way. Way inside, but it caught the zone. Khalil just was really hugged to the plate on that pitch. So his count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike for the 6'4" center field, 6'4" shortstop. Baez, big lead. Baez breaking towards third. There will be no throw. It's another stolen base for the left fielder. He got a wonderful jump. So George Khalil now looking at a 1-2 count with a runner on third. Deep fly ball would get the job done. The 1-2 works its way outside, and the count evens up at 2-2. Pretty good crowd here, made up of almost exclusively children as a part of their day camp day here. A 2-2 to Khalil. Swinging strike 3. And the Otters are down to their last outs in the second. It's the first strikeout of the day for Junpei Akanuma. So Devin Buckner will make his way to the plate. Buckner joined this team a couple of weeks ago as the current replacement for Dakota Phillips, while Phillips is unable to play with his hand injury. Buckner went 2 for 4 in his first game with the Otters, which was his first professional game. He had a single and a solo home run. The solo home run came in the bottom of the ninth, crushed it over the left field wall at Bosse Field. His first pitch is outside for ball 1. The 1-0 headed home towards Devin Buckner. Launches it out towards left field. It dies, drops in. It looked like it was going to go strongly towards the left fielder, but it just died it once it got over the infield and fell in for a base hit. That scores the first run of the game. An RBI single for Devin Buckner has put the Otters up. Looked like a sure thing out right off the bat, but it fell so sharply that the Otters are able to grab an early lead. Buckner stands on first. Andy Armstrong at the plate now. First offering to Armstrong. Catches the outside edge of the zone for a called strike on the changeup there. Junpei has such a unique pitch roundup, and because of it, he can pitch anywhere from mid-60s to low 90s. A swinging strike 2 by Armstrong as he got caught on another changeup, this one even slower. So he's back 0-2 in the count. The 0-2 to Armstrong. Put out towards center field. Chasing in is the center fielder Milazzo, and it drops in for another base hit. Another ball that had enough to get over the infield, but then died once it got to the outfield. The Otters have a couple of 2-out base hits. There's runners on first and second as the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Elijah McNamee, makes his way back to the plate. McNamee led off this game with a single, but was stranded at third. McNamee still waiting to step in for his first pitch, is finally ready. 2 outs, runners at first and second. First pitch to McNamee. Outside, ball 1. No, it's a late called strike. Matt Beaver took his time to call that one. No balls, 1 strike. Junpei Akanuma taking his time on the bump. Here comes the 0-1. Skied out towards right field. Right at the right fielder, Wiley, and he's able to bring it in for the final out, but not before the Otters score the first run of the game on an RBI single from Devin Buckner, but it was all because of 2 stolen bases from Jeffrey Baez. We've played 1.5. Otters lead 1-0. An absolute beautiful day from Schaumburg, Illinois, and the Otters have gotten themselves up 1-0 on an RBI single from Devin Buckner. We head to the bottom half of the second. I want to remind you, if you want to keep up to date with all of the Otters news, from post-game recaps to series previews to signings to guys getting their contracts purchased, anything, you can sign up for the Evansville Otters e-newsletter by clicking Join Our E-News on the EvansvilleOtters.com homepage. You can catch it all. A called strike to Mike Hart kicks off his count. Also, don't forget to follow the Otters on Twitters at Eville Otters, on Instagram at Evansville Otters, or like the Evansville Otters on Facebook. The 0-1 to Mike Hart. Just misses on the outside edge. The count evens up. Bryce Studeville was so much fun to watch in his debut just about a month ago. The 1-1 bounces in on the outside edge for a 2-1 count. He got the call the morning of the game, that time that Evansville was hosting Gateway. He was in attendance the night before, paid admission to come to the Otters game the night before, and got the call the next morning to come be their starting pitcher for the game against Gateway, as a called strike falls in at the low inside corner. He went 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, but only 1 of them earned on 6 hits. He threw 96 pitches and a 6-4 Evansville Otters win. The 2-2 for Hart. Launched to the right side, picked up by Andy Armstrong off the ground. The delayed throw to first is in plenty of time for out number 1. Since then, though, Studeville has made 1 other start. That was at Lake Erie on the 24th of June. He gave up 6 runs, 3 of them earned on 9 hits and 4 2/3 innings. Struck out 5 in that game. He threw 103 pitches in that outing, and the Otters lost 8-7. It's really been a tale of 2 starts for him. In his 2 starts this year, his first one, 68 of his 96 pitches thrown were strikes. But in the second start, only 55 of the 103 pitches thrown were strikes. So he's got to find a few more strikes in this outing. Braxton Davidson starts with the ball on the low edge for a 1-0 count. The 1-0 headed home to Davidson. He grounds it to the right side. Sinsley picks it up, but it was already foul for about 5 feet before he did so. Overall, Studeville is much better against righties than he is against lefties. A few less hits allowed to those right-handed hitters. The 1-1 for Braxton Davidson. Called strike on the outside edge. That is a beautiful pitch from Studeville, the changeup. The pitcher-catcher battery of Studeville and Felix have thrown 12 2/3 innings together, given up 4 earned runs for a battery ERA of 2.86. The two have combined for 10 strikeouts in those 10 2/3 innings as well. I had the pleasure of calling Studeville's games this spring at the University of Southern Indiana, where he went 4-4 in his senior year with the Screaming Eagles, a 5.49 ERA at 57 innings. A 2-2 to Davidson. Just misses on the low edge. A good off-speed pitch there from Studeville. First full count we've seen thus far for the Boomers, and it's a 3-2 to Davidson. Misses low yet again, and the first base run of the game for Schaumburg will be on a one-out walk. Brings out the right fielder, Jordan Wiley. Last night, Wiley grounded into 2 separate double plays, but it must be said that that second one he grounded into was a wonderful play from Andy Armstrong to get to in time. He finished off the day with a single in the 9th inning, but was a part of another double play. First pitch to Wiley, high outside, ball 1. It was a pretty small lead there for Davidson at first, as to be expected, as he has 6 stolen bases on the year. Not a huge threat. The 1-0. Swinging strike 1. Wiley was just a little bit ahead of that one. Because of it, the bat wasn't long enough. One ball, 1 strike for the right fielder. Davidson stands on first. The 1-1. Swinging strike 2. Oh boy, beautiful curveball there from Studeville. Just sank the ball underneath the bat of Wiley, and he's ahead in the count 1-2. That's the pitch that Studeville's got to be able to throw consistently to be a guy to really worry about. Davidson on first with 1 out. The 1-2 to Wiley. Stays just a hair low, and the count evens up at 2-2. Again, pleased you're joining me here on a beautiful Wednesday morning from Schaumburg, Illinois. Glad that you're spending your Wednesday morning / soon-to-be afternoon with the Otters. A 2-2 to Wiley. Outside, ball 3. That one just got away from Studeville. Don't forget that USSSA softball stays in town in Evansville tonight. If you want to buy tickets to go watch them take on the Venom, you can do that on the EvansvilleOtters.com website. Purchase your tickets now. A 3-2 to Wiley. Skied towards shallow right field. Armstrong calls everybody off and brings it in for out number 2. A hard-earned long at-bat for Jordan Wiley, but he ends up falling via the fly ball. The catcher, Blake Grant Parks, heads to the plate now with 2 outs and a runner on first here in the 2nd inning. A little bit of a wait here before he steps in. Now he's ready for the first pitch to be sent his way. Pitch falls in for a called strike 1. Very slow pitch there, just 76. The 0-1 for Grant Parks. Sent right back up the middle. Long run for Armstrong. He almost makes the play, but it dribbles out of his glove. They're going to award it a single, and rightfully so. But I tell you what, Armstrong just about made another highlight reel play there. He had to go a long way for that one. But a 2-out single has runners at first and second now for the center fielder, Brett Milazzo. A little bit of a wait before the first pitch. Milazzo's finally stepped in and ready to go. The first offering. Ooh, must have missed on the outside. Looked like a nice first pitch. But regardless, the count is 1-0 for Brett Milazzo. Studeville readying himself up on the bump. The 1-0. Skied to the left side. Well foul. It's going to get out of play. The count evens up at 1-1. Runners at first and second. 2 outs here. And the pitch stays inside on Milazzo. 4-2. So now Studeville looks around his infield, steps up with a 2-1 count towards Brett Milazzo. 2 outs, 2 on. Two-one, catches the outside edge, and the deuces are wild. Everyone will take a little bit of a breather before the next pitch. 2-2 count, 2 out, 2 on. Pitch on the way. Zoom to the right side, down for a base hit in front of McNamee. They're sending the runner home. And then it's a huge stop sign put up by the third base coach. He was running halfway home trying to keep Davidson at bay. The bases are now loaded after back-to-back 2-out singles for the Boomers. Cosmiso Canella, the designated hitter, stepping in for his first at-bat of the day. In fact, it's his first at-bat for Schaumburg. First pitch is a called strike on the low inside corner. Cosmiso Canella went to Missouri Western State, is joining the Boomers after playing for the Chicago Dogs in the American Association for the last 2 years. He was signed today and is making his first appearance now for the Boomers. A 1-1 pitch to him. Zoom down the left field line. It falls in fair territory and then bounces out. A ground rule double has given the Boomers the lead. Bounced in fair territory and then went over the wall. And just like that, the Boomers have struck back. And his first hit with the Boomers is a go-ahead ground rule double. That brings up the leadoff man, Alec Craig. Craig grounded to the third baseman his first time up. He shows bunts, pulls away at the last second, and it's ball 1. Evansville had grabbed the lead in the top half of the inning, but now 3 straight 2-out hits have given Schaumburg the lead. It's their first lead of the series. The 1-0 stays high for ball 2. Defense is playing with a slight shift to the right side for Alec Craig. A 2-0 is headed his way. Called strike on the high outside edge. Studeville ready for the 2-1. Pitch on the way. And it stays too far inside for ball 3. I see Max Peterson over there on the steps. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe he goes and has a talk with his starting pitcher if a walk happens here. The 3-1 called strike on the outside edge. We've got a full count with 2 outs. Big pitch here for Studeville to keep the game where it's at. The 3-2. It's sent grounded to the right side in foul territory, and we will have to do it all again. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on, and 2 have scored for the Boomers. We've got a full count. Payoff pitch on the way to Alec Craig. Push to the left side, but it bounces about 3 or 4 feet foul. And the count remains at 3-2. Armstrong playing a basically almost shallow right field at right now. So there's a huge gap in the middle. The 3-2 again, and it bounces in for ball 4. The bases are loaded. Four straight men have gotten on base with 2 outs, and that's going to cause a quick discussion. As Max Peterson's making his way up to the mound. It's Max Peterson, Bryce Studeville, and Devin Buckner having a quick discussion up there. The infield staying put where they're at. Likely just a, hey, we need to get this last out right here. Studeville had the inning in his hands, but then 3 straight 2-out base hits, 2 singles and a double, have given Schaumburg their first runs and the lead. He'll look to close it out against the third baseman, William Salas, who flew out to right field his first time up. The defense is not worried about keeping any of the runners close. They're set up pretty much straight up all the way around, except for George Khalil, who's playing in the gap of short and third. The first pitch to William Salas. Called strike on the low inside corner. Good fastball there from Bryce Studeville to get himself ahead in the count. The 0-1 bounces in on the outside edge. That evens the count up. I'll tell you, one of the strange things about this ballpark is because there's not very much room in the bullpens, none of the guys can do their stretches out there. So very often you'll see the bullpen guys come walking down to the gate right behind home plate to go down into the locker room and tunnel area so they can go do their mid-game stretching. Like right now, there's only 4 members of the Otters pitching staff in the bullpen. A 1-1 is skied high. It's in foul territory. Sinsley chasing over towards it, and he brings it in right there at the dugout of Schaumburg, and the inning comes to an end. Only 2 runs allowed. All things considered, Otters got to be happy with that. They trail 2-1 after 2 innings. We head to the third, where Biermann, Davis, and Sinsley are due up for the Otters. To the top of the third we go. Zach Biermann, J.R. Davis, and Steven Sinsley due up. First pitch to Biermann is skied high and foul behind home plate. It's going to get out of play and land up on the roof of this beautiful ballpark. No balls, one strike for Zach Biermann. The 0-1 on its way. It stays outside, and the count evens up. Well, it looks like there is just a tiny chance of some rain later in the day, as a 1-1 is skied out towards left field. Chasing after it is left fielder Hart, and he makes the catch as he runs into the rain fly over there. My goodness. Ran into the tarp, making the catch. And I almost guarantee you're going to see that one on the Frontier League's top 10 next week. My goodness. It would have been a foul ball, but Biermann got robbed there on another opportunity. Brings up J.R. Davis, who grounded into a double play his first time. The first pitch to Davis, a slider that catches the outside edge. A lot of movement there from Junpei Akanuma's harsh slider. The 0-1 to Davis. Same slider. Stays too low and too outside. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1. Pushed out towards right field. Chasing back is Wiley towards the warning track. Now he changes directions and is able to bring it in for out number 2. The ball was flying straight out, and then it took like a little right turn. The wind started to blow it towards the foul line, and Wiley really had to get on his horse to get over there. But it's 2 up, 2 down for the Otters as Steven Sinsley heads to the plate, guilty of a ground out his first time up. Sinsley launched a ball over the right field wall in last night's game. The first pitch in this one stays outside for ball 1. In fact, Sinsley's ball didn't just clear the wall out there, it cleared the whole batting cage structure that's out there as well. Landed past the road. The 1-0. Sinsley takes it low and outside for ball 2. Takes a lead in the count. Junpei Akanuma readies himself up on the bump. A big nod back at his catcher, and he's ready on the 2-0 to Steven Sinsley. Swinging strike 1 on an off-speed pitch that Sinsley was way out in front of. Kind of looked like he was sitting fastball there. Junpei shakes off a couple of pitches and now is ready on the 2-1. Stays outside for ball 3. Steven Sinsley has himself in a commanding lead. The 3-1 way outside, and Steven Sinsley's got himself a 2-out walk. That'll bring up the left fielder Jeffrey Baez with 2 outs and 1 on. Temperature sitting in the low 80s right now. Got some cloud coverage, a nice breeze out towards right field. Beautiful day for baseball here in Schaumburg, Illinois. Glad you're joining us here on the Otters Digital Network. First pitch to Baez. Big curveball that he just barely gets a piece of and sends back towards the netting. The Otters are currently trailing 2-1. They scored the first run of the game in the top of the second, but in the bottom half, a 2-out, 2-run double gave the Boomers the lead. A throw over to first in time. Sinsley picked off over at first, and the inning ends like that. We've played 2.5. Otters still trail by 1. To the third inning we go. Otters trail 2-1. And Evansville's going to hope that Bryce Suitable and the defense can keep this game right where it's at. They'll face Dawson, Hart, and Davidson right in the heart of the order for the Boomers. The first pitch to Chase Dawson. On the way. Big curveball falls in for a called strike 1. Attaboy Bryce. That is a beautiful pitch. Dove into the outside edge and got a called strike. The 0-1. Same thing except moved it inwards, and Dawson was caught swinging at it. Looked a bit silly there. He swung way over the top of that curveball, and he's quickly down 0-2 in the count. The 0-2's on the way home. Bounces in for ball 1. Suitable just kept it a little low. Defense has a shift only in the outfield for Dawson. The 1-2 is sent right back towards the netting, and the count remains at 1 ball, 2 strikes for Chase Dawson, who's batting just over 300 on the season and chasing that Frontier League record. A 1-2 just missed on the outside edge. Buckner tried to help frame it just a bit, but all it does is even the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2, big curveball sent right back up the middle, played by Studeville. He'll toss to first in time for out number 2. 1-3, the official put out. Left fielder Mike Hart now making his way to the plate. Whenever the 4th inning comes, the Otters will have Baez, Gordon, and Khalil due up, as Baez was at the plate when Sinsley got picked off last inning. Mike Hart ready for his first pitch, which stays outside for ball 1. Otters and Boomers conclude not just this set, but the season series tomorrow night at 6:30. Ball is launched towards right field. McNamee chasing back towards the wall. Gone! Ball put off the roof of the structure out there for the batting cages. And a solo home run from Mike Hart has extended the Boomers' lead. Big home run there. And Schaumburg leads by 2. That'll bring up Braxton Davidson, who knows a thing or two about a home run as well. He had a solo shot last night. Davidson walked his first time up, scored as a part of the ground rule double from Canella. First pitch is low for ball 1. The 1-0 count towards Davidson. Just catches the outside edge for a called strike. That evens the count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball is launched to the foul side of the third base side of the ballpark, and it's actually going to get well foul. So Davidson takes his time before stepping in for the 1-2. The 1-2. Looked like a called strike 3 on the outside edge, but it's left alone for ball 2. And it does look like both Max Peterson and Andy McCauley are shouting towards home plate. Could be disagreeing with that call. The 2-2. That one bounces in, and the count's now full. So a little bit of a wait now as we prepare for the next pitch. The 3-2 outside, and it's ball 4. And after thinking he had gotten the strikeout, Studeville ends up walking Davidson. And the home plate umpire is putting a hand up, trying to warn Andy McCauley and or Max Peterson, who are still giving comments. There's another hand up towards the Otters dugout. 1 out, 1 runner on. Jordan Wiley at the plate now. First pitch is a swinging strike by Jordan Wiley. No balls, 1 strike to Jordan Wiley. He's showing bunt now. He tries to bunt, but it stays a bit high for ball 1. So we'll take a second as we wait for the next pitch. Studeville ready on the 1 out, 1 on. 0-2 pitch to Wiley. Pitch falls a bit low for ball 1. Studeville had thought he had got himself a strikeout 1 batter ago, and ever since he seemed to be a half step behind. A 2-1 to Jordan Wiley. Outside. And it's a 3-1 count. Otters desperately looking to snag an out that could end this half inning. The 3-1, there goes the runner. A strike 2, the throw out to second, gets past second, goes out towards center field, but stuck there will be Davidson, who has stolen a base. Probably more importantly, taking away the Otters' chance at a double play. And the umpires are now having a quick discussion about things. And they're actually sending the runner back to first. I'm wondering if they're saying that it was a foul tip into the glove of Buckner. At least that's the only thing I could think of. That's the only thing I could think would result in the runner being sent back to first. Regardless, Jordan Wiley is looking at a full count with the runner at first now. There's still one out, but he's gotten his stolen base taken away from him. Called strike three. And Bryce Studeville makes the most of it. Gets himself his first German American Bank strikeout of the day. Couldn't have come at a better time. 2 outs, runner on first now. As we sit in the bottom of the third inning, Evansville trails by 1. Blake Grant Parks ready at the plate. The first offering to him. He sends it on the ground to the left side. Davis plays it to second for 1, and that's the only one they need. We're done with 3 full innings. Boomers are able to add 1 on a solo home run from Mike Hart. And the Otters trail 3-1. Jeffrey Baez to kick off this 4th inning. A strange couple of plays there to end the third, but Schaumburg was able to grab a extra run on a solo home run for Mike Hart. And after 3, it's Schaumburg 3, Evansville 1. Baez's first pitch comes in near the hands, a bit high for ball 1. Sun is out. Temperatures going up towards the mid to higher 80s now. Breeze is keeping things nice, though. A liner right at the third baseman, and Salas brings it in for out number 1. Baez zoomed it right at him. So it's 1 up, 1 down for the Otters as the center fielder Miles Gordon makes his way to the plate. Miles Gordon's first time up resulted in a pop out to shallow center field After Baez had made his way to second, he wasn't able to bring him any closer. But Baez did end up scoring on the RBI single from Devin Buckner. So it all did kind of work out. 1-0 count for Gordon after the pitch stays outside. Here comes the 1-0. It's sent down the right field line, just a hair foul. Nice play made by the first base coach, Billy Easley. One ball, one strike for Miles Gordon. There's a slight shift towards the right side here from the Schaumburg defense. Big curveball stays outside. The right idea there, but it just didn't quite break enough in time. 2 balls, 1 strike to Gordon. A foul tip into the glove of Grant Parks has the count even up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way to Gordon. He extends the hand and puts it down the first base line, but it dribbles foul just before it gets to the base. So Gordon will make his way back towards home plate. He's rocking the bright white cleats today. Of course, the cleats that he wears during warm-ups are a bright neon fluorescent green. Two balls, 2 strikes for Miles Gordon. There's 1 out and nobody on here in the 4th. And Gordon calls time. This is going to be a long-awaited 2-2 pitch. It's on the way home. Push to the right side to the first baseman, Davidson, who plays it on a couple hops. The throw to first is in time to beat Gordon. Not by much, but it does. 3-1 on the putout. 2 up, 2 down here to start off the 4th. And that'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil. George Khalil, the tall Australian shortstop for the Otters, stands 6'4" at the plate. He struck out his first time up. The first pitch to him here is a swinging strike 1. In fact, each pitcher only has 1 strikeout so far in the game. Everything else has been done by the defenses. The 0-1, and Khalil foul tips that one back towards the glove of Grant Parks, and he's down 0-2 quickly. Otters are potentially 1 pitch away from a very quick top of the 4th. Oh, 2 to Khalil. Pitch on the way. Swinging strike 3. And both strikeouts on the day from Junpei Akanuma are via George Khalil. We've played 3.5 innings. And we are still looking at a 3-1 advantage in favor of the Boomers. To the bottom of the fourth we go. Brett Milazzo, Cosmiso Canella, and Alec Craig due up for the Boomers. Schaumburg holding on to a 3-1 lead right now as we work towards and through the middle innings. First pitch from Studeville is a called strike one right down the middle. Playing super in is the third baseman, J.R. Davis. Both feet on the infield grass by a few feet. 0-1 is sent sharply towards the Otters dugout. Grabbed by one hand by Zach Biermann. 0-2 is the count. Pitch on the way to Milazzo. Big curveball. Oh, should have been a called strike three. Must have stayed a tad bit high on the high outside corner. And once again, it does look like Max Peterson was shouting towards the home plate area. Hard to tell, though. The 1-2 to Milazzo. Lifted high, foul to the left side, well out of play. That's for certain, though, that the Otters and Boomers have both struggled to pick up strikeouts just because the zone has been a little bit strange. There have been a couple of close pitches not called strikes, and I think that's gotten in both the minds of the pitchers. The 1-2 to Milazzo. Way inside for ball two. Almost grabbed Milazzo in the knees. He had to bounce back. 2-2 count with no outs and nobody on here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Schaumburg leads by 2. Pitch coming home, a swinging strike three, and the tag out ends things. It's the second German American Bank strikeout of the day for Bryce Studeville. That'll bring up the DH, Cosmiso Canella. Canella in game one of his Schaumburg career today. He was signed this morning. A little wait before the first pitch. It's on the way now. A half swing. Did he go? No, he didn't, says the first base umpire. Again, the umpire staff today, Brandon Spivak behind home plate, Matt Beaver on the left side of the infield, Dominic Longbucko on the right side of the infield. A pitch that goes well outside sends the count to 2 balls, no strikes. First pitch that has been called a strike in this at-bat grabs the outside edge, and it's a 2-1 count. The 2-1. Almost another called strike, just missing on the outside edge was Studeville, and he's behind 3-1 in the count now. Three balls, one strike to Canella. The pitch on the way. Skied high behind home plate, and it's going to end up near the roof here. So the count's full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on and 1 out. Here in the bottom half of the fourth, Studeville could grab back-to-back Ks here. The 3-2. Outside ball 4, and it's a 1-out walk. And Canella is starting his Boomers career, making it on base in both of his opportunities thus far. Once on that RBI double, now once on a walk. Back to the top of the order we go, and Alec Craig will step in. 0 for 1 with a ground out and a walk. The defense on the infield is playing at double play depth. In the outfield, pretty much straight up. The throw over to first is not quite in time. Has Canella's back. Studeville taking a second there on the bump. A long look at first. Now he's ready on the first pitch to Craig. Another throw over to first, and yet again, Khalil is back in time. Otters not playing tonight, of course, because it's a day game. So make sure if you're hanging out in Evansville, go check out the USSSA softball games tonight. You can buy tickets right now at EvansvilleOtters.com. First pitch to Craig. Called strike on the outside edge. Kind of looked like a take all the way from out Craig. Probably had no intentions of going around on that. No balls, one strike to Alec Craig, and again they'll throw over to first, and again Khalil's back in time. Defense would love to snag a double play here. The 0-1 sent down the right field line, just a hair foul. It helps out Studeville as he's looking at an 0-2 count now. If you want to interact with the broadcast today, I know yesterday today were Amazon Prime days. Did you splurge on anything for yourself? Let us know either in the comments here or you can at me on Twitter at @TheMatthewWill. Let me know what you splurged on for Amazon Prime days. I know I found a new pair of shoes, so that's what's coming in the mail this weekend for me from the Prime days. The 0-2 coming home. It's well outside. Good stop for Buckner to keep it in front of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Alec Craig. 1 out, 1 runner on first. Defense in double play positioning around the infield. Deep and positioned to the right in the outfield. The 1-2. Push to the left side. Played by Davis to second for 1. That's the only one they'll get here, as it was played off the chest of Davis, so he had to reach back down to pick it up. But the Otters are able to get the lead runner, and officially it's a 5-4 fielder's choice. William Salas making his way to the plate now with 2 outs and 1 runner on first. Salas is 0 for 2 with a foul out and a fly out. His foul out came with the bases loaded at 2 outs. The first pitch to Salas. Zoomed right back at Davis again. This one comes into the glove. The long throw over to first is in time for out number 3. And the 1-out walk won't come back to haunt the Otters. We've played 4, and Schaumburg still holding on to a 3-1 lead. To the top of the fifth we go. Devin Buckner, Andy Armstrong, and Elijah McNamee due up for the Otters. Schaumburg holding on to a 3-1 lead. Buckner's the one who drove in the Otters' sole run of the day. An RBI single for him back in the second. First pitch to him here. Big slider that stays outside. Defense set up straight up all the way around on a 1-0 count to the catcher, Devin Buckner. Launches one out towards right center field. Long run for Milazzo. He thinks he's underneath it, and indeed he is, for out number 1. And the Otters have just had one base runner in the last 8 at-bats now. Brings up Andy Armstrong, who singled his last time up. A 2-out single that just blooped into right field. He's looking to keep something going here in the 5th inning for the Otters. First pitch to him. Sent towards right center field. It's going to be down for a base hit. Might be extra bases. There goes Armstrong around first. Heading towards second and actually rolled under the wall out there. Had it not rolled under, Armstrong might have had himself a triple. He goes and makes the run all the way to third, but now he'll jog back to second. A 1-out double from Armstrong. And he's got another multi-hit outing under his belt. For Armstrong, that's now his 10th multi-hit outing. He joins Biermann, Khalil, Davis, Gordon, McNamee, and Sinsley, who all have double-digit multi-hit games as well. Elijah McNamee at the plate now. Otters sure need big hit Mac to come up here. The first pitch to him. Swinging strike 1 on the outside edge. That was a really good pitch from Junpei Akanuma, considering that he never looked at home until the pitch left his hand. He was staring down Armstrong at second. They're trying to keep him very close. 0-1 to McNamee. Pushed out towards right field, but it's going to get foul and end up on the berm out there. So the count falls to 0-2 for Elijah McNamee. Trying to keep the 5th inning alive for the Otters. 1 out, runner on second. No balls, 2 strikes for McNamee. Here comes the pitch, and Junpei decides to step off and turn around. Doesn't end up throwing to second, but Armstrong hustled back. Armstrong with a very small lead at second. The second baseman keeping him close. McNamee ready for the 0-2. Swinging strike 3 on a pitch up and in. And McNamee is the third Otter. He'll sit down with the strikeouts. That brings up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann, who was robbed of a foul ball his first time up. It should have been able to just head back and have another opportunity. But the left fielder, Hart, made a catch as he fell into the tarp down in the left field corner. That was out number 1 back in the 3rd inning. He was also hit by a pitch in the first. First offering to Biermann. Push to the right side, right at Dawson. He'll play it to first in plenty of time, and a 1-out double from Armstrong won't come back to do anything for the Otters. We've played through the top half of the 5th, halfway through this game. Boomers lead 3-1. Chase Dawson to kick things off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. He'll be followed by Mike Hart and Braxton Davidson. Hart and Davidson have been two dangerous hitters in this series thus far. The first pitch to Dawson on the way. It's a called strike on the outside edge. Tell you what, that's a pitch that Studeville wish he had been given a couple of times in earlier half innings. Now a pitch put towards Armstrong, a diving play. The throw to first, is it in time? Oh my goodness. Andy Armstrong's done it again. I cannot believe this man. A miraculous diving snag out there at second, off balance, falling backwards, throw to first, and they get the man. Arguing the play is the third base coach for Schaumburg. But the arguing won't do anything, as it instead is just a wonderful play from Armstrong and out number 1 in the inning. My goodness. Andy Armstrong, a human highlight reel. So that'll bring up Mike Hart, who's 1 for 2. A solo home run back in the 3rd inning is what gave the Boomers a little bit of insurance for the time being. First pitch to him here. Stays just a hair low for ball 1. Next pitch stays high, and it's now a 2-0 count. Two balls, no strikes to Hart. This one's launched out towards center field. Long run for Gordon, and it bounces in front of him for a 1-out single. Braxton Davidson now at the plate with a 1-out, 1-on scenario. First pitch to Davidson. Pitch stays a bit low for ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Davidson fouls one off to the right side. It ends up towards his dugout. And it's now a 1-1 count. One ball, one strike for Davidson. There's a runner on first and just 1 out. A half swing. They say yes, he did go around, and Davidson's behind the count 1-2. The runner on first, Mike Hart, gets a big lead, and then the throw over, well, they won't throw over, they'll just kind of walk him back. He tried to just dart towards second while no one was watching, and Studeville was able to turn around and kind of walk it back. 1-2 count to Davidson. Hart's on first with 1 out. Here comes the 1-2. Stays low, and the count's even up 2 balls, 2 strikes. Long wait for Davidson to step back in the box. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 1 on. Studeville kicks and delivers on the 2-2. Curveball sent off the edge of the bat. Over to Armstrong. He'll just play to first with a sure thing out. That'll allow Mike Hart to reach on the fielder's choice. Officially 4-1 on the fielder's choice. Jordan Wiley making his way to the plate now. 0 for 2 with a pop out and a strikeout. Runner at second is Mike Hart. There's 2 outs for Jordan Wiley. The first pitch to him. Called strike, high and outside corner. Studeville starts off with the fastball in this count. The 0-1 for Jordan Wiley, the right fielder. A curveball stays low, and the count's evened up at a ball and a strike. A lot of clouds starting to move into the area, but still a nice, sunny, warm day. Mid-80s. Good breeze out to right field. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jordan Wiley. Studeville really taking his time up on the bump. Pitch on the way. Sent on the ground to the right side. It stays foul, however. And the catcher, Devin Buckner, will go and reset signs with his pitcher. Home plate umpire will go with him just to make sure that that is what the topic of conversation is. Waves his arms as it is indeed. One ball and 2 strikes for Jordan Wiley. There's a runner on second, 2 outs. Boy, would Studeville love to grab this out and end the inning. A 1-2. Big curveball just missed on the outside edge. That's a place that Studeville's gotten some calls as strikes and a lot of times as balls. So we'll try to do it again. Now with the deuce is wild. 2-2 counts. 2 outs, runner on second. Big 2-2 pitch on the way home. Swinging strike 3. And Bryce Studeville able to grab himself a German American Bank strikeout, the 3rd of the day, to end the 5th inning. And after 5, Evansville still trailing 3-1 here on the Otters Digital Network. To the top of the sixth we go. J.R. Davis kicking off the half inning. Takes a pitch high and inside to start us off. Davis is going to be followed by Steven Sinsley and Jeffrey Baez. The 1-0 falls in on Davis, and he's looking at an even count of 1-1. As of right now, all the scoring is coming in the second and third innings. A 1-1 stays outside for ball 2 and advances things to 2-1. Pitch way inside, and Davis takes a 3-1 lead in the count at this point. Evansville's going to stay in town for one more day for a 6:30 first pitch tomorrow night as they conclude the season series with Schaumburg tomorrow night at 6:30. 3-1 to Davis. Called strike right down the middle. And it was pretty obvious Davis was going to take the entire way. Three balls, 2 strikes, and time is called by Davis. A 3-2 for J.R. Davis with no outs. Zoomed to the left side and threw for a base hit. Lasered that one into left field, and he's got himself a leadoff base hit in the 6th inning. Don't forget, if you want to go support the Otters at the All-Star game next week, Logan Sawyer and Zach Biermann, both representing the Otters, and officially Dakota Phillips and Parker Brahms are as well, but neither will be in attendance, one via injury, one via call-up. You can do that by visiting WashingtonWildThings.com to find tickets and go out there and support the Otters. First pitch to Steven Sinsley. Zoomed out to right field. Chasing back as Wiley towards the wall, and he grabs it as he falls into the wall. Heavy hit for Sinsley, and he's frustrated with himself. Just feet away from a home run that would have evened the game. When your offense finds a lot of success in home runs, you live by it and you die by it. That's an opportunity where the Otters were just shy of a big fly. So Jeffrey Baez heads to the plate now with a runner on first and 1 out. Throw over to first is not in time to get Davis. He doesn't have a huge lead over there. Again, a throw over. That one almost gets by Davidson. Again, J.R. Davis is back in time. First pitch to Jeffrey Baez, finally on the way, and it's outside ball 1. Defense set up straight up all the way around. J.R. Davis has himself a nice lead over there at first. The 1-0, and again, he's back in time as they throw over towards him. Jeffrey Baez has been at the plate for now a minute and a half or so and only seen one pitch. They've thrown over the first 4 times. The 1-0 now headed towards Baez, and he dribbles it foul to the left side. Will end up in front of the Otters dugout. One count for the left fielder Jeffrey Baez. There's 1 out and a runner on first. Otters trying to find some sort of offense to bring themselves a little closer. 1-1 headed home. Again, dribbled foul to the left side. Again, it ends up next to the Otters dugout. Again, Davis finds himself a good lead over at first. The 1-2. Baez swings and misses. And it's the fourth strikeout of the day from Junpei Akanama. That'll bring up Miles Gordon now with 2 outs and a runner at first. Otters threatening to leave another man aboard. Miles Gordon ready on the first pitch, and again they're going to throw over, and again Davis is back in time. Davis has had to go sliding back into first now, I believe 8 times since he got on there. A called strike on the outside edge starts off the count for Miles Gordon. He's behind 0-1. Gordon's dug back in, ready for an 0-1 pitch. Davis has a good lead at first again. Ball is sent out towards left and dropped in for another base hit. A 2-out single for Miles Gordon puts runners at first and second now with 2 outs, with the shortstop George Khalil making his way to the plate. A huge chance for the Otters. Take a look through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard, just to keep you up to date with what's going on this morning. In the top of the 8th, Sussex County and New Jersey tied at 7 runs apiece in the battle for the Garden State. Lake Erie come from behind and takes a 9-5 lead now in the bottom of the 8th over the Joliet Slammers. In the bottom of the 6th, the Windy City Thunderbolts currently up 6-4 against Florence. First pitch to George Khalil's a called strike. Khalil will take his time before stepping back in. The 0-1 to George Khalil. High and outside, and it's now a 1-1 count. There's runners at first and second. Davis at second, Gordon at first. And they're trying to keep J.R. Davis close out there at second. The 1-1. Swinging strike 2 from George Khalil. He'll fall back behind the count. Khalil's trying to avoid his 3rd strikeout of the day. Two outs, runners at first and second. Otters desperately need to grab some offense. The 1-2 to Khalil. Swinging strike 3, and it's a hat trick of strikeouts for Khalil. 5 on the day for Junpei Akanuma. And after the top of the 6th, Schaumburg still leads 3-1. And we head to the bottom half of the sixth inning. Grant Parks, Milazzo, and Canella due up for this Schaumburg team. Bryce Studeville and the Otters hoping to keep them right where they're at. Saw a couple of arms from the Otters get up and do some stretches out there and left, including both Tyler Spring and Jacob Bowles, just in case they were to be needed. As we enter this sixth inning, Studeville is currently looking at 103 pitches on his ledger. First pitch stays low and outside, dribbles away from Devin Buckner for ball one. A 1-0 to Grant Parks. Stays low and away. Blake Grant Parks on the day is 1 for 2 with a single and a fielder's choice. Here comes the 2-0 on its way towards him. Catches the zone for a called strike one. It looks like there is a man starting to warm up for Schaumburg down there in their pen. I believe it's Juan Pichardo down there. Ball sent on the ground to the left side, will dribble just foul before J.R. Davis picks it up. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Studeville is sitting at a over 50% line on his strikes to balls. Of the 105 pitches he's thrown now, 60 have been strikes. Two-two the count to Blake Grant Parks with no outs and the bases empty, leading off this bottom half of the sixth inning. The 2-2, right back up the middle, dive by Armstrong, and he's just a bit over the top of it. It curves past him and into center field for a leadoff base hit for Blake Grant Parks. I tell you what, Andy Armstrong was about 4 inches away from another staggering catch out there in the infield. I'm sure that Benny Garrett, the clubhouse manager for the Otters, is just looking on in happiness at the dirtiness of Armstrong's jersey so far. Throw down to first. Is it in time? Not quite. The pitch came home, and Buckner tried to surprise everyone with the throw down, and it was very close. The count's at 1-0 for Brett Milazzo. Tyler Spring is starting to throw for the Otters down in left field, by the way. Otters are at double play positioning. 1-0 the count to Milazzo. Studeville sends it home, and it's sent high and foul towards the road, well over the stadium's top deck on the third base side. So the count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. No outs and a runner at first here in the bottom half of the sixth inning. The 1-1 on the ground towards Armstrong. He'll play it to second for 1, to first in time. 4-6-3 on the double play. Is there any infield chemistry better than Andy Armstrong and George Khalil? I'm not quite sure. Boy, have those two been fun to watch. It's the 5th double play that they've turned so far here in the 2-game set. They did it 4 times last night. The first pitch to Cosmiso Canella is in the dirt for ball 1. Defense is playing deep in the infield. Pretty standard depth and positioning in the outfield. The 1-0. Sent on the ground towards J.R. Davis. He plays it on a few hops to throw to first in time. Great play there from Davis to end the 6th. And after 6 innings, Schaumburg leads 3-1 here on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased you're joining us for a beautiful day of baseball in Schaumburg, Illinois. As we kick off the top of the 7th inning, a pitching change needed for Schaumburg. Luis Perez will hop up to the top of the mound. He hails from Sabana Grande, Dominican Republic. Stands at 6 foot 175 up there. Last year played for the Gastonia Honey Hunters. And now he is looking to keep things where they're at. A 3-1 advantage for the Boomers. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Perez on the mound. Grant Parks behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give a call at 812-475-9000. Perez enters the game with a 1.80 ERA in his 4 appearances this year. He's gone 5 innings, given up 1 run on 5 hits. Otters are going to try to get something started against him with Devin Buckner, Andy Armstrong, and Elijah McNamee due up. Buckner stepped up. He's 1 for 2 on the day. He's got an RBI single there in the 2nd inning. First pitch home. Outside, ball 1. (1-0) the count for Devin Buckner. Bases are empty, no outs here to start the 7th inning. The 1-0. Way inside, and it hits Buckner on the hip. Tried to get out of the way, but it still got him pretty good. And he will earn first the hard way. Andy Armstrong making his way to the plate. His last time up, a double, but he was stranded at second that whole inning after his 1-out double. First pitch to Andy Armstrong. On the way, he shows bunt, pulls away, and it's ball 1 up high. Evansville have got their leadoff man on here. They did it in the last inning too, but left him stranded at second. They've got to find a way to bring one of them home to at least bring this game to within 1. 1-0 on its way. Armstrong bunts to the left side. It'll be a play at first, and it's in time to retire Andy Armstrong. He moves his runner. A nice bunt there from Armstrong helps the team out. And I'm sure the team will like that move. He receives a lot of high fives on his way down into the dugout. McNamee makes his way to the plate with a runner on second and 1 out. Elijah McNamee is 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single to lead off the game. Since then, a fly out and a strikeout. The first pitch to him here is elbow high for a called strike 1. Right across the middle of the plate. Buckner's got himself a decent lead out there at second. Perez stares him down. Now fires home on the 0-1. McNamee puts one down the left field line, and it's grabbed by Andy McCauley. Count falls to 0-2 for Elijah McNamee. His last pitch, he was caught swinging at a pitch high and inside. Now he's trying to avoid the same fate. Big hit Mac, looking at an 0-2 with 1 out and a runner on second. Big pitch here. Swinging strike 3 on a pitch high and out of the zone. McNamee's down with his second strikeout of the day. And there's now 2 outs and a runner at second for the Otters. Zach Biermann making his way to the plate. Biermann had 3 home runs a couple of weeks ago when we were last here at Schaumburg, but he's been on a bit of a dry spell since then. First pitch home to Biermann. Called strike on the high outside corner. He laid off. Defense is playing with a shift to the right side, and Buckner is standing with a good lead off second. 0-1. Swinging strike 2 for Biermann on a pitch low and inside. And now he's got to defend with an 0-2 count on the board. Otters threatening to leave a man on second base or further in scoring position, basically, for the 4th different inning. Long wait for Luis Perez up on the mounds, looking in for his sign, and now he's going to step off. In fact, not just step off, they're going to have a quick meeting of the minds between the catcher, Grant Parks, and pitcher, Luis Perez. Biermann's already stepping back into the box, ready to go. Hard to see the batter's boxes now. They've been almost completely dug away at home plate. 0-2 is the count for Zach Biermann. Works way inside and nearly hits him. The runner's going towards third, and Buckner's going to get himself an extra base on the pass ball. He decided to go very late, but now a wrong pitch by Perez would bring the Otters within 1. Boy, would that be huge. Biermann ready for the 1-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs and a runner at third. They trail by 2. The 1-2 to Biermann. Put out towards right field, down for a base hit. The run's going to score. Is Biermann going to plug for 2? He is. The throw towards second, not in time. It's an RBI double for Zach Biermann at Evansville. Trails by just 1 now. Zach Biermann was due for a big hit, and he gets it via an RBI double put out into the right field area. Evansville trails 3-2. It'll bring J.R. Davis to the plate, arguably one of the hottest Otters in the last 5 or 10 games. In fact, Davis has himself 6 RBIs just in the last 5 games. He's still standing in waiting for his first offering. Finally, Luis Perez has his sign. Here comes the first pitch to J.R. Davis. Called strike on the low edge, maybe near the knees by the time it finally crossed the plate. And Davis is behind the count 0-1. Biermann with a small lead at second. The 0-1 to Davis, well outside. That evens the count at 1-1 Biermann not necessarily the quickest man around the base paths, but depending on where the ball falls, we'll see if Andy McCauley wants to try to wave him home if Davis is able to put something out there in the outfield. 1-1 count to J.R. Davis with 2 outs and a runner on second. The pitch coming home. Stays low for ball 2. If Davis could get himself on, Steven Sinsley is due up next. He missed a home run his last time up by, maybe 5-6 feet. Stepping off was Luis Perez. And he just stands there and waits till J.R. Davis steps out, and now they'll all reset. 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner at second. J.R. Davis ready for the 2-1. Grounds the ball and puts it off of his foot to the foul ball there. And the deuces are wild. Counts even up at 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner on second. Luis Perez standing at the very front of the rubber, eyeing down his catcher. Nods in agreement with the sign, and the 2-2 is ready to come home to J.R. Davis. Way outside, a good stop by Grant Parks. Tell you what, if that got past, Biermann would have had third very easily. He used both hands to go scoop it up on the outside. The count's now full for J.R. Davis. 2 outs and a runner on second. The wind has actually changed directions now. It was going out towards right field. It's now coming in from right field. Time is called, both at the plate and then on the mound by Perez. So stepping back in is J.R. Davis. A 3-2 count with 2 outs and a runner on second. Otters are trying to even this game up at 3. The payoff pitch to Davis. Sent fouled right back into the netting, and we'll have to do it all again. We had a long build up to that pitch. Three balls, 2 strikes to J.R. Davis. There's a runner on second, 2 outs. Defense set up pretty much straight up all the way around. A long wait for pitches, and yet again, time is called at home by J.R. Davis. The 3-2 to J.R. Davis. Sent down the third base line. Misplayed by the third baseman, Salas. There will be no play, and the inning shall continue. Biermann's not able to advance to third, but a misplay there at third base has allowed Davis to reach. And there's going to be a meeting up on the mound. We might see a pitching change here. No indication as of yet. It's going to be an infield single for J.R. Davis. Back-to-back 2-out singles have put runners at first and second with 2 outs. And the Otters' most powerful hitter probably at the plate now. The man warming up for Schaumburg down there is Jake Joyce, the righty out of Wheeling, Illinois. Meeting at the mound has concluded. And we are just about ready to go with a 2-out, 2-on opportunity for Steven Sinsley. The wind is blowing in, but that's not usually an issue for him, because a lot of the times he can power something out anyway. A couple of 2-outs opportunities have given the Otters not only their second run of the game, but now an opportunity to add to it. They trail by 1. The first pitch to Davis, to Sinsley, was swung on and missed down in the dirt for strike 1. Looks like Jacob Bowles is starting to throw for the Otters, as is Tyler Spring. First time in a long time I've seen 2 Otters warming up at the same time. No balls, 1 strike to J.R. Davis. Long wait by Luis Perez. Shakes off a couple of pitches. Finally nods in agreement. The 0-1 to Steven Sinsley. Called strike at the elbows. Sinsley's down to an 0-2. Be tough to see the Otters let this slip through their hands. Oh, 2 count for Steven Sinsley. 2 outs and runners on first and second. The 0-2 for Sinsley. Way up high, ball 1, and he'll live to see another pitch. Davis with that single joins Andy Armstrong as the only 2 Otters with multi-hit outings in this game. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Steven Sinsley. Big pitch here. It's on the way. Stays low and inside, and the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs and 2 on. Otters currently trail 3-2 in the game, yet lead in the hit category with 9-6. They have just not been able to bring individuals home. Luis Perez taking his time. The 2-2 to Steven Sinsley. Put towards the right side and just foul. Will head off towards the Schaumburg bullpen, and the count remains at 2-2. Easily the biggest at-bat of this game thus far. Because if the Otters can get a base hit, they could tie the game. Otherwise, this could be the last real chance the Otters get all day. The 2-2 to Sinsley. Taken for a called strike 3 on the high inside corner. He was frustrated, is arguing the call a bit at home plate. But regardless, a called strike 3 ends this inning. Evansville able to come within 1, but they still trail 3-2 as we head to the bottom half of the 7th. Time to stretch here from Schaumburg. To the bottom of the 7th we head. And the leadoff men for Schaumburg, Alec Craig, William Sullis, and Chase Dawson are the 3 to take to the playing field. Tyler Spring ends a pitch for the Otters. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. First pitch by Spring results in a called strike one. He slipped on his way down the mound. That's a lot of body to be hurling down that mound. 6-6. Tyler Spring stands up on the bump. Spring on the mound. Buckner behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. 0-1 to Craig. He shows bunt to the left side. Picked up by Davis. The throw to first, not in time. An infield bunt single for Alec Craig. He surprised everyone there. Davis was playing so deep, by the time he got to the ball, there really wasn't a play. So that'll bring up William Salas, who's 0 for 3 with a foul out, fly out, and a fielder's choice thus far. First pitch to Salas. He shows bunt again to the left side. Picked up by Davis. The throw to first this time is in time for out number 1. But it does move the runner forward. That'll bring up the second baseman, Chase Dawson. 0 for 3. He got absolutely robbed by Andy Armstrong his last time up. Dawson really taking his time to dig in at the plate. He's got a runner at second and 1 out here in the bottom half of the 7th. First pitch to Dawson. Called strike at the knees. Tell you what, when Tyler Spring releases with that way up high release point, he ends up getting about 6 feet of drop from the time his pitch releases his hand to where it ends up in the zone. The 0-1 ends up high and outside, 4-1, and evens the count up. Another look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. New Jersey down to their last 2 outs, down 9-8 against Sussex County in the bottom of the 9th. A 1-1 to Dawson. Skied out foul to the left side. It's going to get out of play, however, in towards the seating area. We have a final from Lake Erie. The Crushers defeat the Joliet Slammers 9-5 in their early game. Florence Yalls currently trail at Windy City 7-4. And then our game is the only other one going on right now. 4 different matchups going on tonight, including a doubleheader as one of those 4. The 1-2 to Dawson. Zoom to the right side, past the diving arm of Steven Sinsley. Finally, McNamee gets to it. By the time he picks it up, there goes Dawson towards third. He could have the record right here, and he's in. He's done it. There it is. Triple number 17 for Chase Dawson. He picks up third base in celebration. And he is now the sole holder of the most triples in a single season in the Frontier League. Oh, and by the way, the All-Star game is next week. He still has a ton of time to go. Chase Dawson has done it. Triple number 17. It also scores a run and gives the Boomers a 4-2 advantage. Brings up the left fielder, Mike Hart, who is 2 for 3, a single home run and ground out. The first pitch to Hart, right back up the middle, sent out towards center field. Going after it is Davis. Oh my goodness. Gordon is the one who dives and makes the catch. It will be a sac fly RBI, but that is a wonderful grab by Miles Gordon out there. And just like that, the Boomers have taken a 3-run lead. Obviously, a lot of celebration going on down there right now as Dawson makes his way back to the dugout. And they're actually taking a second to give Miles Gordon some time to stretch out. He came up a little bit torn up again, I guess, after that diving play, was just needing some time to walk it off. 2 runs have scored here in the bottom of the 7th, and Schaumburg now holds a 5-2 advantage. The first pitch towards Braxton Davidson's in for a called strike. Otters playing with a heavy shift to the right side. Armstrong is playing probably 8 or 10 feet into right field. A half swing results in ball 1 for Davidson as counts evened up. Huge gap right there on the second base side of second base. Sorry, first base side of second base. A 2-1 is the result of an outside pitch. Davidson retakes the lead in the count. Otters had themselves in a position to strike back in this game, and now we're going to have to do a whole lot more. Down by 3. Pitch is foul tip straight back into the netting, and the count's even at 2-2 for Davidson with 2 outs. Otters are going to have Baez, Gordon, and Khalil due up in the 8th. They're down to their last 6 offensive outs. Might need a two-out rally as to last night when they scored 4 in a 4 at-bat span with 2 outs in the 3rd yesterday. The 2-2 to Braxton Davidson. Swinging strike 3, and Tyler Spring closes out the half inning with a strikeout, but not before Schaumburg adds 2 more, including 1 on a record-setting triple by Chase Dawson. He now is the all-time leader in triples in a single season with 17 after 7 full. It's Schaumburg 5, Otters 2. We go to the top of the 8th here on the Otters Digital Network. And Jeffrey Baez will kick off the 8th, followed by Gordon and Khalil. Evansville now has a bigger hill to climb as they trail by 3 going into the last 2 innings. A long wait before the first pitch to Baez. He's finally stepped in. We're ready for the first offering. First offering to Baez, outside, ball 1. (1-0) to Jeffrey Baez. His offering on the way. Zoomed out towards left center field. Going towards the left fielder Hart, and he brings it in for out number 1. It was a hard hit ball, but just unlucky placement. 1 up, 1 down to start the 8th. Miles Gordon now makes his way to the plate. Was hit by a pitch his last time up, but came around to score on Zach Biermann's RBI single. Right at that point, the Otters were just down by 1, but now they have a little more work to do. First pitch stays high and outside for ball 1. (1-0) the count to Miles Gordon. Now a called strike, almost in the same place out there, the high outside corner. And Gordon turns around real quick, a bit upset. (1-1) towards Gordon. Goes a bit too far inside, and he's back ahead in the count, 2-1. There's one out, bases are empty. Otters having to come from behind in this ball game after taking the lead back in the second. (2-1) for Gordon. And it just misses on the outside edge. He's ahead 3-1. You know, it was a solid day for Bryce Studeville on the mound. He ends up giving up 3 runs on 6 hits in his 6 innings of work. Threw 113 pitches, but the offense didn't quite do enough to keep him close. Ball sent towards second base. Diving play by Dawson. The throw to first. Gets past first base, and it's a single for Miles Gordon. Would have been a hard play regardless. And it's a 1-out base hit. George Khalil now making his way to the plate. Already with 3 strikeouts on the day, trying to avoid the dreaded golden sombrero now. George Khalil taking his time to make his way to the plate. He steps back in, ready to go. The count is 0-0 with 1 out and 1 on. They're going to go check on Gordon, who's back in time. Really worried about the Otters' base runners. All the Schaumburg's pitchers have. First pitch to Khalil. He pulls the bunt away at the last second. It's a called strike anyway, though. One on, 1 out. George Khalil's looking at a 0-1 count. And again, they throw over to first, and yet again, Gordon's back in time. The 0-1 to Khalil. Sent back into the netting. It was a good swing by Khalil, but he was just underneath it. So it's an 0-2 count now for Khalil with 1 out and 1 on. Otters have to find something to keep some success alive. Long wait from Jake Joyce up on the mound. Here comes the 0-2. High and inside, ball 1. George Khalil behind in the count, 1-2. The throw over to first is not in time. Gordon safe yet again. The 1-2 for George Khalil. There goes the runner towards second. Gordon's going to be in safely, and now he's running towards third after the overthrow. The play at third's not in time. He's got himself 2 bases on the stolen base there. The first one will be a stolen base. I'm sure the second one will be an error on the catcher. Checking to see exactly how they decide to score that. Regardless, there's now 1 out and a runner on third for the Otters. Huge chance to at least find something. The 2-2 headed home towards Khalil. Called strike 3, and it's his 4th strikeout of the game. He immediately turns back and says, "I don't think so," to the home plate umpire, Brandon Spivak. And the Otters are down to their last out in the 8th. Indeed, Gordon's going to get the stolen base to second and then advancing to third on the throwing error by the catcher, Grant Parks. Devin Buckner digging in for his 4th at-bat. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI single, a flyout, and a hit by pitch. He came around to score in the 7th. The first pitch to Buckner stays low for ball 1. If Buckner can find his way on, Andy Armstrong is standing in wait in the on-deck circle. The 1-0 making its way towards Buckner. And it's a called strike on the outside edge that evens the count up. Two outs, runner on third. Otters are trying to avoid leaving a man on third for the 3rd separate inning tonight. Or today, I guess. It's still sitting here at 1:30. It's kind of strange to have a day game. The Otters haven't had this in just about a month now. Even their Sunday games are usually played at 4 or 5 o'clock. Two balls, 1 strike to Devin Buckner. He's got a runner on third and 2 outs. Huge opportunity here. The 2-1. Called strike at the elbows. Buckner didn't think it was close. He looked back at the Otters dugout in frustration, which there has certainly been plenty of in that dugout today. The 2-2 to Devin Buckner. It's foul tipped into the dirt, and he'll keep himself alive, at least right now. 2-2 is the count. 2 outs and a runner at third. Otters trail by 3. I know in the grand scheme of things, yeah, maybe a quick RBI here doesn't do a ton, but it would at least give the Otters a little bit more hope going into the ninth if they were only down by 2. Two the count to Devin Buckner. Oh, and the pitch gets way high and inside on him, hits him in the elbow, and immediately he is in some pain. That was a fastball that came up and in and got him. And indeed, the trainer, Manny Flake, is going to come have a look at things, as well as the head man, Andy McCauley. Fastball came up and in and really got Buckner hard on that elbow pad. He's waving everybody off, saying, I'm good to go. And off he goes running towards first. There's now runners on the corners with 2 outs, as Andy Armstrong makes his way to the plate. As this happens, Jacob Bowles stands up and starts to throw for the Otters in the bullpen down there. So a hit by pitch from Buckner, his second of the day, has men on the corners with Andy Armstrong at the plate. First pitch to Armstrong is a called strike at the knees. Armstrong has a single, a double, and a sacrifice bunt so far on the day. Already has 2 doubles in the series. Had one last night, too, that was down the left field line. 0-1 to Andy Armstrong. A half swing. He didn't intend to keep going around on, but the bat did not follow what the brain said, and he's down 0-2 in the count after the swinging strike 2. Long wait for Andy Armstrong. He's standing at the plate waiting. Finally, here comes the 0-2 towards him. Ball stays well high. It looked like a curveball that never really got its downward break. And Armstrong's still behind in the count 1-2. Buckner stands on first. And Gordon stands on third. One to the count for Andy Armstrong with 2 outs and 2 on. Pitch is headed home. Swinging strike 3. Chase that one outside. And we head to the bottom of the 8th. Otters trail by 3. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning here. The Otters are still trailing by 3. Yet again have left men in scoring position. And they up their left on base count to 12 on the game. 4 separate innings with multiple men left on base. And we head to the bottom half of the 8th with Wiley, Grant Parks, and Milazzo due up for Schaumburg. I want to say another thank you to all of you tuning in to the Otters Digital Network on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Glad you're spending your Wednesday with us. Don't forget that the Otters and Boomers conclude the 3-game set and the season series tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. We'll have the pregame show at about 6:20 right here, and then the Otters head back home for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series with Washington. 1-0 coming home, and it's a called strike on the outside edge. Nice pitch there from Spring. And if you're looking for something to do in Evansville this evening, the USSSA softball team is remaining in town tonight and tomorrow. You can buy your tickets at EvansvilleOtters.com. Sounds like it was a great night there last night. 1-1 stays outside for ball 2. If you go to EvansvilleOtters.com, you can click on USSA Series, which is right there on the main scroller. Hit Learn More, and that's where you can buy all of your tickets. The 2-1 stays high and outside for ball 3. .730, by the way, is first pitch for the softball games. Gates open at 6 at historic Bosse Field. The 3-1 to Jordan Wiley. Swinging strike 2. I tell you what, he really puts together a hefty swing there. But his count just heads to full. Defense is set up straight up all the way around for Wiley, except the center fielder Gordon is playing about maybe 8 feet to the right side. The 3-2 to Wiley. Way inside. And it's a leadoff walk for Wiley. His first time on base today. And with that walk, William Salas is now the only Boomer who has yet to reach base in the game. Daryl Thompson is starting to warm up for the Boomers out there in right field. Thompson is one of the league's best closers. Tied for 7th with 7 saves on the year. Pitch is fouled right back into the netting. And it's just a strike 1 for Blake Grant Parks. Runner at first is Jordan Wiley. Blake Grant Parks is ready for the 0-1. Pitch comes in for a called strike 2 in the low inside corner. It's a nice corner hit by Tyler Spring. Spring already ready to go on the 0-2. Big nod towards his catcher. The 0-2 comes home. Stays just low for ball 1. I think Grant Parks knew how close that one was. Kind of winced after that one came home. A little bit of a wait here before the next pitch. Now the 1-2, ready to come home from Spring. Sent right back up the middle. Through for a base hit past both Khalil and Armstrong. And there's runners at first and second with no outs. Brett Milazzo, the center fielder, makes his way to the plate now. He grounded into a double play his last time up. Also has a single and strikeout on the day. Defense will play with a little shift towards the right. Currently, J.R. Davis playing very pressed in there on the left side of the infield, expecting the bunt. He shows bunt, and it stays low. It must have for ball one. So exactly what Milazzo was thinking there was the bunt. Of course, it would mean that Tyler Spring is going to have to really hustle over to third to keep it covered. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anyone available. The 1-0 to Brett Milazzo. He doesn't show bunt this time and takes a strike on the high inside corner. Count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. One for Milazzo. Runners at first and second, still no outs. Pitch is fouled back into Buckner's pads. It's a 1-2 count. Standing on second is Wiley. On first, Grant Parks. Milazzo looking at a 1-2 count at the plate with no outs. The pitch is on the way home. Sent out towards left field. Chasing in his Baez. It falls in front of him for a single, and the bases are now loaded with no outs. Otters don't have anyone warming up right now. And as I say that, someone hops up. Bases are loaded with no outs. Tyler Spring trying to find himself out of this difficult scenario now. First pitch home to Cosmiso Canella, who had a chance with the bases loaded earlier in the game and had a ground rule double that scored 2. He starts with ball 1 low here. The 1-0 coming home. Called strike. Evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Looks like it could be Drake Nightingale warming up out there in the outfield. A bit hard to tell. Called strike 2 on the low outside corner. Has Spring up in the count now 1-2. But he's had himself some 2-strike counts earlier in this half inning. Just has not been able to secure the outs. The 1-2 lifted high and foul. Will it get out of play? Yes, it will. Ends up about 12 rows up. One ball and 2 strikes for Canella with the bases loaded and no outs. Tyler Spring desperately needs to get himself an out. The 1-2 sent back into the netting. And the count remains at 1-2. Spring, deep breath. And now kicks and delivers on the 1-2. Called strike 3. First German American Bank strikeout for Tyler Spring. Sorry, second. Looks right over the prior one. And it's a total of 5 on the game for the Otters. Bases are still loaded. There's just 1 out now. It is Drake Nightingale that's been warming up down in the pen for the Otters. The righty just came off the injured list about a week ago. First pitch to Alec Craig. Heading home. And it's sent foul into the netting behind home plate for strike one. So the count goes to 0-1 for Alec Craig, the leadoff man for Schaumburg. Has reached base 3 times, once on a walk, once on a fielder's choice, and once on a single. Called strike 2 at the elbows, has him behind the count 0-2. He disagrees with the call quite a bit, shaking his head and wincing there at the plate. The 0-2 to Craig. Curveball stayed outside. And Spring still has his lead in the count. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bases loaded and 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Right now it's just damage limitation for the Otters. Trying to make their life, I guess, as easy as possible in the 9th inning. They'll have to get at least 3 runs to continue the game, though. The 1-2 stays high. The count's evened up at 2-2. Buckner just barely got his glove up to that one. 2-2 the count for Alec Craig. Bases loaded, 1 out. Pitch comes home. Bounces in, and it's a good stop from Buckner. But the count heads to full. 2 straight strikes started the at-bat. And now it's been 3 straight balls that have been well out of the zone by Tyler Spring. Needs something to kind of right the ship for him. Spring has himself ready on the 3-2. Skied high and foul to the left side. I think it's going to get out of play, and indeed it is. Bounces all the way back up towards the upper concourse, and a group of 20 or 30 kids goes running after it. Three balls, 2 strikes for Alec Craig. The bases are loaded, still just 1 out. The 3-2. Skied high, foul to the left side again, and again it gets out of play. Craig's done good to keep himself alive in the count. 3-2. His count with the bases loaded and 1 out. Spring shakes off a couple of pitches and now finally nods. We'll try again on the payoff pitch. A 3-2 to Craig. Again, sent back towards the netting behind home plate. And yet again, the count is 3-2. 3 straight foul balls on 3-2 counts have kept Craig alive at the plate. Ready to try again on the 3-2 is Tyler Spring. The pitch is on the way home. Outside, ball 4, and a run walks home. We'll see if that does it for Tyler Spring. Wiley is going to score. Parks reaches third. Milazzo to second. Craig gets an RBI walk. And out comes Max Peterson. See if he makes any indication towards his bullpen. And indeed he does. We'll take the break with them. Otters are going to need a pitching change here in the bottom of the 8th. It's damage limitation time as they now trail by 4. Drake Nightingale in to pitch for the Otters. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Nightingale on the mound. And Buckner behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Nightingale finally activated earlier this week off the injured list, made an appearance against Florence, pitched one scoreless inning, giving up no runs, no hits in his first inning of the year. Starts off with a called strike here to William Solis, who is the only Schaumburg Boomer who has not reached base safely in the game. The 0-1. Big curveball fell just out of the zone. The count evens up at 1-1. Bases are still loaded with one out. Nightingale's trying to help things out here. 1-1 stays outside. That's a 2-1 count. Defense is set up at double play positioning in the infield. As for right now, the Otters are going to need at least 4 runs in the top of the ninth to extend the game. A 2-1 to William Solis. High and inside, and it's a 3-1 count. And Solis is potentially one pitch away from his first time on base today. A 3-1. Pushed out towards right field, and it'll end up on the berm for strike 2. And the count is full. So everyone will head back to their original locations. This time ready on a 3-2 pitch. Nightingale really taking his time up there. Has his pitch count and decision, the 3-2. Skied back towards the parking lot. And it's a great at-bat for William Solis, keeping himself alive. Now a 3-2 count with 1 out and the bases loaded. Drake Nightingale is trying to help close out this 8th inning for the Otters. The 3-2. Sent right back up the middle. Past all the infielders. 1 run's going to score. A 2nd run's going to score on a 2-run single from William Solis. And with that, every single Schaumburg Boomer has got on base safely at least once in the game now. Chase Dawson making his way to the plate now. Dawson's last time up, he got an RBI triple that gave him the Frontier League's all-time single-season record. First pitch to him now. He pushes to the left side, fouled, will end up on the concourse up there. So it's an 0-1 count with runners on first and second and 1 out. Here comes the 0-1 from Nightingale. Put out towards center field. Chasing after is Gordon, a long run for him, and it's Baez who calls him off and brings it in instead for out number 2. That'll bring up the left fielder Mike Hart, who is 2 for 3. A home run, a single, and a sac fly RBI to his name, as well as an early ground out. Hart has his feet dug in and is ready to go on a 2-out, 2-on scenario. Nightingale's first throw home on the way. A swinging strike one on a pitch that just broke low and away from Mike Hart. He kind of got fooled on. Oh, 1 the count for Mike Hart. The pitch on the way. A called strike two on the inside edge. And that was an important one for Nightingale to get. Oh, 2 to Mike Hart. And it just misses the low outside corner for ball one. I think Nightingale thought he had got the strikeout. We'll see how he responds to it with this pitch. Runners on first and second with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. 3 runs have already scored for Schaumburg. The 1-2 sent foul to the left side. And living to see another pitch is Mike Hart. Defense set up straight up all the way around just to grab this final out. They currently have a 6-run deficit they'll have to try to overcome in the top of the 9th. Big curveball stays low, it must have. Nightingale yet again, as well as I think most people thought he had got the final strike, but it must have stayed low. And evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on. Nightingale ready to go on the 2-2. Pitch coming home. Big curveball. This one stays too high. And now it's a full count for Mike Hart. If Hart finds a way on, Braxton Davidson is standing on deck. He'd be the last Boomer to appear in this inning, as the other 8 already have. A high foul ball to the right side. Sinsley at the wall, but it ends up being about 5 rows too high for him. Three balls, 2 strikes, with 2 outs and runners on first and second. Nightingale's just looking to close out this half inning for the Otters. There's runners on first and second with 2 outs. Schaumburg's already scored a trio of runs here in the 8th. And now time is called. Just past the 3-hour mark in this game. As the 3-2 heads home to Mike Hart. Stays low for ball 4. The bases are loaded. And that'll bring Braxton Davidson to the plate. He was the only Boomer on the starting lineup that had not appeared in this half inning. Now here he is. With it all, it moves Craig to third, Solis to second, and then, of course, at first is now Mike Hart. Defense is all set up very deep with Andy Armstrong playing a shallow right field as Braxton Davidson heads to the plate with 2 outs and the bases loaded. First pitch you see zooms to the right side, but it's foul towards the dugout of Schaumburg. Again, the 2 squads conclude this 3-game set, what looks like it'll likely be a rubber match. They also conclude the season series tomorrow at 6:30. A shame that we don't get to see the Schaumburg team in the back half of the year. No balls, 1 strike for Braxton Davidson. Nightingale's ready on the bump, and here comes the 0-1. Curveball fell a bit low. That one looked good. And a day of frustration for the Otters continues. The 1-1 stays way inside for ball 2. Bases are loaded with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Otters trail by 6. Here comes the 2-1. Again, fouled off. This one again towards the dugout of Schaumburg. The count's even at 2-2. Two outs, bases loaded. A 2-2 count for Braxton Davidson. Drake Nightingale trying to get the Otters out of it. 2-2 stays outside, and it's again a full count. Long wait for Nightingale up there. The 3-2. Way up high, ball 4, and a second run walks in. It is now a 9-2 advantage in favor of this Schaumburg team. And they have officially batted around, as making his second appearance in the half inning is Jordan Wiley, the right fielder. He kicked it all off with a walk. And there's going to be a discussion there between Khalil, Davis, Nightingale, and Buckner. Bases loaded, 2 outs, Jordan Wiley at the plate. Wiley in the game has a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a pop out. The first pitch to him here stays low, ball 1. Defense in the infield is playing deep. All of them except Davis at third with their feet on the outfield grass. The 1-0 sent on the ground to the right side, but foul. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. After the Otters conclude the 3-game set here tomorrow, they host the Washington Wild Things in the first games between those two squads all season long. 6:35 first pitch on Friday night at Bosse Field. 1-1 sent on the ground towards short. Khalil plays it on 2 hops over to first in time. And finally, the 8th inning comes to an end, but not before 4 runs score for the Boomers. They lead 9-2 as we head to the 9th inning. Otters have to get it all done right here if they want to come back. To the ninth we go. Otters trail by 7, and they'll start it off with the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Elijah McNamee, who's 1 for 4 with a single that led off the entire ball game. It's McNamee, Biermann, and Davis due up to start off what the Otters need to be a huge rally. Darryl Thompson in out of the bullpen to pitch for the Boomers. His first pitch, swinging strike 1. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Darryl Thompson manning things up on the bump. The 0-1, and it's fouled away. Thompson on the mound, Grant Parks behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. The 0-2 to Elijah McNamee. Stays a bit high for ball 1. All things considered, a good pitch there. That's one that we've seen McNamee chase earlier in the game. The 1-2 to Elijah McNamee. Spinning his hands and swinging and missing is McNamee. It's his 3rd strikeout of the day. And it's the first one of the day for Thompson. That'll bring up Zach Biermann, the designated hitter this afternoon for the Otters. He is 1 for 3. He has a foul out, a fielder's choice, an RBI single, and a hit by pitch to his name. First pitch home, called strike on the outside edge. Otters have had a few too many strikeouts for their liking. 10 total in the game. The 0-1 to Biermann, a called strike 2, a bit high. Oh, to the count to Zach Biermann. The pitch is on the way. Just misses on the outside edge. That's a consistent non-call out there on the outside edge. Something we've seen just about all day long is that one be left alone for a ball. The 1-2 headed home to Zach Biermann. Swinging strike 3. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for the Otters to start the ninth. Down to their last out, J.R. Davis makes his way to the plate for the Otters. And it looks like tomorrow's going to be a rubber match in this series. J.R. Davis steps in and he's ready for his first pitch of this at-bat. Lifts it high, foul to the right side. It's way deep, and the right fielder, Wiley, will bring it in for out number 3. And the Otters are going to follow this one 9-2 here on the road at Schaumburg. We'll leave things right here to break it down for you. You know, this is a perfect story of the Otters not being able to capitalize on their opportunities. Lots of base runners in this game, lots of base runners in scoring position in this game, but they couldn't do anything with them to bring them home, and that's what hurts them the most. The first run of the game came in that second inning. The Otters started off with the lead. They scored on a RBI single from Devin Buckner. That did not last long, though, as in the bottom half of the second, 2 runs scored on a RBI ground rule double by Cosmiso Canella in his first at-bat with the Boomers. That gave Schaumburg a 2-1 lead. They added one more to it in the third with a solo home run by Mike Hart. The 3-1 advantage lasted for a long time, until the 7th inning to be exact, when the Otters were able to grab a run on an RBI single from Zach Biermann, bringing themselves to within 1 in the game. But the Boomers started their big charge in the bottom of the 7th, scoring 2 runs, one on a RBI triple from Chase Dawson, a triple that extended his lead atop the league, as well as set the league's record for the most triples in a single season with 17 of them. And we're not even at the All-Star break. Congratulations to him for setting that record. A sac fly RBI by Mike Hart gave the Boomers an even bigger lead, 5-2 at the time. Then in the bottom of the 8th, the floodgates opened and 4 runs scored for Schaumburg as they batted around in that half inning. One run scored on a walk by Alec Craig, 2 runs scored on a 2 RBI double from William Salas, and then the final run scored on an RBI walk from Braxton Davidson. All in all, Schaumburg goes on to win the game 9-2, or 9-2. The win is going to be awarded to Junpei Akanuma, who once again put together a stellar outing on the bump. Man, is he fun to watch up there on the mound. Bryce Studeville receives his first loss of the season, falls to 0-1. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings of work. All things considered, thought it was a good day for Bryce, but he just couldn't get things finished up. Tyler Spring in relief gave up 6 runs on 4 hits in 1 1/3 innings of work. With the loss, the Otters drop down to 33-20, while Schaumburg advances to 27-25. The Otters will now see how their fate stands at the end of the night, as Washington plays at Gateway tonight. A Washington loss would keep the Otters in a tie for first place. Otherwise, Washington would take their lead back with a win. We will see those same Washington Wild Things in town later this week for a 3-game set on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's how these two squads will finish out their pre-All-Star break outing. Want to run through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard one final time today. They are still showing bottom of the 9th. I would imagine that it's not updated. There we go. Sussex County has defeated New Jersey 9-8. A big win there for the Miners. They had to come from behind to get it done. Joliet fell at Lake Erie 9-5, and Windy City got a home win over Florence 8-4. 5 more games on the schedule tonight, including a doubleheader between Ottawa and Trois-Rivières, making up a game from early June. New York is playing in the upstate at Tri-City. Empire State is playing at Quebec, trying to stop the Quebec 7-game winning streak. And then the final game of the night, like I mentioned, Washington at Gateway. That Washington team will come meet the Otters at Bosse Field later this week. Get tickets for that at EvansvilleOtters.com, or go by the box office anytime this week. We'll be excited to see you at Bosse Field for the final series before the All-Star break. Otters fall in this one 9-2, and this 3-game set is even at a game apiece. Rubber match tomorrow takes place at 6:30 here from Wintrust Field. I'll have the pregame show for you here at 6:20 here on the Otters Digital Network. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will saying so long from Wintrust Field in Schaumburg.